Welcome to Speaking in Spoons with your host, Christina Brookman.
Hi, I'm Christina Brookman, your host for Speaking in Spoons, a chronically ill podcast. And this is a Spoonie Sunday. I just wanted to give you a brief update on our schedule for this month of March. Usually on the 30th of the month, we share a personal story with disability. And this month's was supposed to be Hannah Setzer's book, I'll Pray for You. But we've had some medical things going on with myself and some of the co-hosts. So I've decided to that this month on the 30th, we will instead air our TBI or traumatic brain injury episode, which we have already recorded. So stay tuned for details for that episode. I think you'll learn a lot. We learned a lot. Um, and we're excited to share the story. Um, but that also gives you more time to read Hannah's book. It is called I'll Pray for You and Other Outrageous Things Said to Disabled People by Hannah Setzer. We have the link up on our website. And we'd love your thoughts before we interview Hannah. Like, what are some things people have said to you or a loved one that is disabled? Um, I also wanted to talk about, I saw a video, this is separate, but saw a video like a week ago of this was in the news recently. And the story is actually turns out to be old, but an anesthesiologist was recorded by the patient making fun of the patient and doing like a false diagnosis while the patient was under anesthesia. Um, and I was really horrified because there is such a trust that patients put into their doctors, especially when you're under anesthesia. And it makes me sad when stories like this come out because I know there are a lot of good doctors out there that have put time and energy into their profession. And this just, you know, makes the profession look bad. And but I would just, encourage uh, patients to, and also I think what bothered me most, there were people in the room that were laughing with her and knew that she was doing this and not reporting her. It shouldn't have taken a patient accidentally like butt recording her during the surgery to have gotten this caught. Like this never should have happened to begin with, but also the people that were in the room probably, they're not, she's their superior, but still, you know, never be afraid to stand up for what's right because that also makes them look bad in the long run. And those kind of things are recorded anyways. So you're backed up by evidence. Stand up for what's right. It makes you a better practitioner and a better advocate for your patients. It's the vow that you take. Also, I was thinking something that's going on with a former work colleague and friend of mine got me thinking of an upcoming episode we're having. She's going to be having surgery for cancer, and the cost is just um, exorbitant. And, it's just very hard. And she's looking at trying to raise funds. And, I was talking with her about other resources that might be out there. And she's in a different state, so things are always different, state to state, and people don't really realize how much that affects people until it happens to you. And she was talking about how much she made. She makes a pretty good, amount of money. But she has a special needs child, and which is cost prohibitive itself too. Um, and it's exhausting always trying to come up with funds to live and take care of yourself, take care of your child, and then something medical comes up. And she said, I plan for all these things. I'm taking things into account. I just didn't think of how expensive the medical could be, you know? And I said to her, I think that happens to everybody. It's just like, car insurance. Like she went down on went for the lower rate for the insurance because she wasn't using her deductible, and now she needs it. Just like I've known people that as soon as you take that certain part of your car insurance off, that's when you get in a car accident. But it's also, when we're young, we're not thinking of the things that happen to us medically. Uh, and I was like, please don't be hard on yourself, because I think this happens to everybody. I look at my parents, family members, like, coming to terms with and like groping with the idea of their own mortality as they age. And, we all think we're invincible at a certain point, but life happens, medical conditions happen, age happens, disability happens. And many times you don't know it's coming. You don't plan for it. When you get married and have a child, you didn't plan for a special needs child. And it doesn't mean you don't love your child, but it does mean it's going to affect you the rest of your life financially. And my parents, and my mom certainly didn't plan for me to become disabled in my 30s and then wind up on her doorstep needing help, you know. And as she's getting to retirement age, um, we need to find a way to better help our citizens, because it's not just an elderly thing. It's not just you know, it's everybody. Everybody, if you look around, somebody in your circle at some point in their life is going to have a medical crisis, a medical condition, a surgery, cancer. Will Everybody dies, we all go through that. And the majority of people know somebody with a chronic illness or disability. They may just not know they do. Um, so I guess what I'm trying to say is we as a country need to do better in finding ways to help our people. And also because it broke my heart thinking of her in this situation. And and I am reminded of this interview we just had with Carol Driscoll from the Disability Law Center of Virginia. Carol is phenomenal. I can't wait for you to hear and see this episode. She has so much experience in assisted living, nursing home care. And we talk a lot about the idea of planning for the future for your loved ones and for yourself, and things you can do and options you can do. But I think a big problem that a lot of people get into is they don't want to talk about those subjects. They're scared to talk about those subjects. If you don't talk about it, it doesn't exist, right? But it does exist. And that day is coming, and it could be coming sooner than you're prepared for. Strokes happen, car accidents happen, COVID happens. Disability happens, and you or your loved one may have to go into some sort of facility. And Carol talks about all the different options are, and all the different ways you can get help. So that's going to be a great episode coming up. Um, and uh, in that regard, I didn't mean to talk this much. I spent a lot of this week paralyzed, and a lot of this stuff got me thinking. And for those of you, you that know me, know I process out loud. And as my mom said, I came out of the womb talking. Um, but moving has made me, I'm moving again. I think I'm a professional mover at this point, although I don't can't move obviously anymore. I rely entirely on friends and movers. Um, the cost of moving is crazy. I don't know how I will do it in the future. I'm on a list for HUD, which is income-based housing. Takes years to get a unit in Virginia. Unlike other states, it can take a great deal of time. Um, and you know, the cost of moving is expensive, and the toll on my friends and loved ones that help move, we're getting up there in age, and most of my friends have a disability or chronic illness themselves. So, and, but I wanted to talk about caretakers because now I'm in a location, and where I live in general, there is very little public transportation. I want us to have an episode on caretakers next season, but I'm gonna keep kind of talking about this idea because it goes into that idea of assisted living, nursing homes, all of those things. Because my caretaker comes to my home, but I do not have there is no bus line or anything anywhere near I live, so they would need public, or they would need their own transportation. Um, but there is a lot of trust when you have a disability that you put into the people around you. Um, it is very hard. It is very hard to let go and to trust because so many of us at this point have been disappointed, um, given up on, uh, hurt. Um, it's hard to know who we can trust. So a caretaker is a very sacred position, and it's very hard, uh, hard job. And because they're not just sitting there as your companion, they are a companion. Um, it is the person I talk to when I'm in pain, when I'm crying and I need a distraction from my pain. It is the person that helps me make phone calls to medical people when I can't do it myself. It is the person that helps me organize things, that writes things down because my hand doesn't have the motor function right now. Helps me feed my cat, and do my laundry and cook my food and drive me to doctor's appointments and clean the house or apartment or my room and help me bathe, and clean me up when there is a mess because that happens too. And with my condition, because of the paralysis, it's just like that patient who is entrusting the anesthesiologist, you know, it is scary to lay there paralyzed, you know um and I go in and out of it, and I think I can't even imagine what is like to be paralyzed all the time. um but because I go in and out of it, people forget that I do go in it, that I am not capable of a lot of things or shouldn't be doing a lot of things because they'll see me when I'm good. um uh, But it is very scary laying there and not being able to talk well, communicate what you need, or care for yourself. And you're in a very, very vulnerable position. I'm fortunate right now. I have somebody that I can trust with my safety. But I found in this new location what is scary, because I'm at my mom's, but I have a chairlift that doesn't work. So there's just a lot of components in moving that you forget and that you don't think about. And you're like, oh God, well, I'm going to be on the second floor. My caretaker doesn't live with me. She's not here all the time and she's transitioning more to part-time. So I have to find, other people to help, other caretakers as well that can fill in hours because my mom can't be that caretaker, you know um, when I'm on a second floor with a chairlift that doesn't work. Now, the good thing is, hopefully, my insurance will help me with that, but you never know. You never know. And that could happen by the time I leave. It gets approved and then put in. It's a journey, right? Like I think I posted this week, it's always something. I love Gilda Radner. And when she got cancer and she wrote her book, it's always something. I definitely identify with that. It's always something. But you got to find the laughter somewhere because otherwise you're just gonna roll over and die and cry. And I think crying's good. It's important. You know, it's vital. But you gotta laugh. Maybe laugh till you cry. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to open that discussion about caretakers, and I'm curious what other people's um experiences are with that. I know I've had crazy stories I could tell you over the years. I've had great ones. I've had horrible ones that have stolen from me, that don't show up, and don't call, and agencies that have been really sketchy. Right now, I'm in consumer direct, which means I hire my own people. But that also makes it complicated because then like, if there is like an HR problem or something, like it's like, who do they go to and who do you go to? There's like a weird blend with the personal dynamic too. Um, it's difficult and it's I think a difficult line to figure out, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But yeah, if you have stories of your caretaker, or you are a caretaker, or you're looking to find caretakers and want to know, like, you're just stories out there and stories of nursing homes and assisted living, let us know what you think of Hannah's book. And like I said, our next episode is going to be a personal story with disability, my story with traumatic brain injury, otherwise known as TBI. So if you have any stories about that, um, experiences with traumatic brain injury, send them our way. And, maybe I could share them on next Sunday's Spoonie Sunday. Till then, I hope you have a great week and save your spoons. Bye.
If you want to contact us, please send a DM or email to speakinginspoons@gmail.com with any stories you have or would like to interview with us on any of our upcoming topics. And check out our website for all of our upcoming episodes and what's happening in the Speaking Spoons community at www.speakinginspoons.com. Thank you for listening to Speaking in Spoons and have a great day.